Alright, now before we test the radiator and get the transmission filled, I'm going to work on this accelerator linkage pivot mount. Just a couple months ago, just at the start of 2021, a guy posted something on the Benz World forum on how to fix one of these, and you can't buy them anymore. They're sold out everywhere. Only thing that's left are scalpers on eBay that are selling them for $150 plus shipping. All the new old stock is gone. The only ones you can get now are donor ones off of like wrecked cars. So thankfully someone has figured out a way to repair one of these so I don't have to go through that process. I kind of wanted to go through the process so I could have a novel idea, but yeah, I'd rather just not. So I'm glad someone else figured it out for me. So we're going to take this assembly off, 10 millimeter there, 8 millimeter there, pop that ball joint out, take that cotter pin out, pull all of this out, take it to the garage, and we're going to bastardize a fix for this guy back here so that it does not that anymore. So I'm going to get to that. Well, here's my cobbled together, bastardized repair for the accelerator linkage pivot mount. And it's dirt simple. That guy knew what he was doing. I thought for about 2 days on this on how I could improve it and couldn't think of a dang thing. This is pretty slick. I mean, this is a perfect solution. So I'll just go over what I did. What I did was I took the two plastic bushings that were on this shaft in here. They have two little pointed nubs on either side for some reason, and those nubs like interlock so that if one bushing sticks and one doesn't, it'll spin and then they'll hit and then it'll break that. And I guess it makes it really smooth and cuts down on the wear or something. I don't know. It seems overly complicated in German. So what we did is we sanded off both sides of those nubs so that we could sit them flat on top of each other. And then I took some quick set epoxy and just stuck the back end of them, or stuck them on the back end of a 5/16 drill bit. Just put a couple dabs of epoxy, just glued them together, let it partially set, pulled it off of the drill bit, and then we set it down in the bottom of this 3/4 inch PVC drain plug, and then we quick set epoxy that to the bottom of that and just sort of lined it up till it looked to be pretty much centered. Then we let that cure for about 30 minutes. Then we mixed up some original blend JB Weld, which is the stuff that takes 4 to 6 hours to cure, which is important. Put masking tape over the top of the bushings, cut it around so that there wasn't any extra hanging off, and then we stuffed between the bushing and the PVC JB Weld the whole way around with a paper clip. And then after we got that as full as we possibly could, and there's still probably air pockets inside of here, but they shouldn't matter, then we ladled out all the extra around the outside of this plug. And this took about 3/4 of a tube of a 1 ounce tube of the original JB Weld, maybe a little bit less. I had a partial tube and I don't think I used 3/4 of it. Anyway, 1 tube will do you for certain. And let that cure overnight, spend 11 hours, and then we took that 5/16 drill bit, drilled through the bushings and through the bottom of the PVC, and then walled out the PVC at the bottom with that, or you could use file, and got that to where it has just about this much resistance. There's not a lot of resistance, but it doesn't, spin freely. Well, it kind of does when you have this thing on it. That's what we want. We want it to be tight. It's going to wear, so you want it to be tight up front. And I just covered the shaft in silicone grease, and then we have there's a little tiny nylon washer that was on here, and just because it was there, I stuck it on the outside of the bushings, and then we took a 1 inch by 1/4 inch by 16 inch fender flare washer, and we bored that out to 5/16, cleaned up the burrs, got it to fit loosely on the shaft. Then we stuck that on there, and then we put the E-clip back on the back, and that was it. And that was done in, that was probably 2 hours or less of effort and, overnight of waiting, and it's back together. That's a lot better than $150 from scalpers. I think they wanted like $150 plus like $15.5 shipping, so $165.5, and this cost me personally, I think, $1.75 because I had to buy this plug, and I already had the JB Weld in the washer. If you had to buy the JB Weld, that's $7.50. If you had to buy the washer, that's probably I don't know, 50 cents. So let's just say so let's say $10 bang on if you had to buy everything. That's pretty damn nice. And anyone can do this. The only thing you need, that specialty, is a drill. The rest of it's just, paper cups and paper clips. And anyway, if you want to see this in more detail, I put out another video on this, contemporaneous to when I actually did this. So I think this video is going to go live in like September. So about 5 months ago, back into March. So you can go over there and watch that. And yeah, I'm excited to see if this actually works. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. The only caveat with this is it sticks out maybe about 1/8 of an inch further than the original one did. But, you saw how mine functioned with the thing like a full inch sticking out of this bushing. So it's not going to make a difference. Also, just with a wood screw and some needle nose pliers, I got this little chrome cap off. So we'll see if it fits on that aftermarket or not. Probably won't. I bet the aftermarket is oversized, so we'll see though. I would feel bad if I threw this away and then wanted it, 5 years down the line. So we're going to make an attempt now, and hopefully I can get that washer nozzle back out of the hose and out of the hood without breaking it, so I can try and get this on, because it's got these little folds on it, and not going to be able to get those on when it's on the car. So we'll see about that. Well, I can't seem to get this guy to go on, and I can't seem to get this guy to come off, and I'm not going to fool with that because it was like a $9 part, and I don't want to break it, and it really doesn't want to come off of there, so we're just going to forget about it and ignore it. But I'll hang on to this for posterity's sake in case I ever break that again or decide to do this again, revisit it. But we got that attempted, and then down here we got that bolt replaced, and that was with the only M60 bolt I could find, I think, or M6. I think I went with a 60 millimeter. It's not full thread all the way. It's got round rod up to the hex. I don't know what you would call it, the shank, which is probably better for this application. It's about the right length for that. Forgot to get a washer, forgot to get a lock washer, so I'm sure that'll rattle and fall out eventually. So I over torqued it so that, it was crushing everything, and the whole radiator will work as a crush washer. But most importantly, we got this guy in. We've got our bastardized repaired accelerator linkage pivot mount, and as you can see, no more slop. We lift up on this accelerator bar, we get immediate response. So that's going to be nice. We finally have an accelerator. I also learned that if you pull on this stop lever, you only get this much of the throttle. But if you pull on the accelerator level, you get that much of the throttle. So I was never quite feeding her all the beans. No wonder we weren't able to roll coal. Don't know if it's ever supposed to go that far, but we'll see. I think I'm going to set this guy up in the engine bay real quick, climb inside and press on the accelerator pedal and see how much movement we get. So stand by while I jam this somewhere. Oh wait, I have the tripod in the car. Why didn't I just do that, dumbass? Alright, so I got the phone chucked up in the tripod, and I'm going to hop in the cab real quick and just jam on the accelerator. And I want you to look at all of this complicated German linkagery going on up here. Alright, foot is touching the pedal. We're going down, down, and there's a sticky spot in my accelerator that I just found out right here, and it crunches and clicks, and there we are. I have pegged it to the floor. Can't go any further than this. But when I let up, it lets up mostly smooth, but it's just got this crunchy spot right there. And I believe it is the hinge in the accelerator, so I'm going to have to come in here and grease it up a bit. But yeah, I have never heard it make this noise before. The only thing I've ever heard it make before is this noise. That's as much accelerator as I had previously. Now, and when I was pulling on the stop handle, that's as far as I think it was going. So I now have that. So we're gonna be rolling some coal now, boys. We're gonna be doing burnouts. Not really. I don't want to have to buy new dump tires.
That's so nice.
You don't know how excited I am. Like, that's as much of the accelerator as I was getting before, I think, and I've now got that much more. I don't even think I had a third of the accelerator before. Uh, oh shit, man! I'm gonna be rolling coal, doing donuts, doing burnouts, burning rubber, melting this son of a bitch down, overheating my engine and bricking it. That's probably the only thing that saved me is the fact that I didn't have any accelerator. Oh boy, I can't wait to get some transmission fluid in this thing, get her off the blocks, get this radiator coursing, get some water coursing through this radiator and start hammering on the accelerator. Oh man, I want to get this bad boy on the road and die because the brakes fail. I can't wait. Stay tuned. Alright, so it's the interim between weekends, and curiosity got the better of me, so I dumped out the rest of everything in here. And this was a brand new container. I don't know where the hell I got it, but it's been in the garage. So anyway, it was a brand new container, so there was nothing in it. And I poured that into the milk jug, and we've got maybe half a gallon. So we have a full gallon and probably a little less than a half gallon. And you also have to remember that there's a full quart of differential fluid mixed in there, just to add some extra flavor. So we only had 5 quarts in the transmission, and we drained everything, the whole dang thing. Pulled the filter, pulled the pan, drained the pan, drained the torque converter, and drained the transmission cooler. And I got all of that other than the stuff I had to wipe off of my hands and what blew all over the place. So we'll bump that up to, you know, a full half gallon in there, just to make up for all the stuff that was lost. And we didn't even get 5 quarts out of there. For what we did, we should have gotten at least 7 quarts. So, you know, discounting the quart for the differential fluid, that's 5. So we were at least 2 quarts low in that transmission. I would say we were probably close to 2.5, maybe even 3. I don't know the full capacity. I said I was going to look this up, and then I didn't. I think it's close to 8 is full capacity. So I think we were at least 2.5 quarts low, which may have explained the screaming transmission. I hope it explains the screaming transmission. My only other thought with that is that the motor mounts and the transmission mount are both bad, and it's like putting weird torque on the transmission, like the engine is sagging like that, and it's like pushing on the transmission, and the flex plate is doing funny things and it doesn't like it. And that's my only other thought with the squealing transmission. But but we definitely got at least 5 quarts out of there, so I think I'm good to dump another quart in there and let it settle, although I'm going to be running the thing. So anyway, so I think I'm going to dump another quart, maybe another 2 quarts. I think I'm going to dump another 2 quarts into the transmission, and then we'll let that sit, and hopefully tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'll be out here, get this sucker off the blocks, get her fired up, and see about filling the transmission up all the way. But I at least want to put in the amount that I took out of it. So I'm gonna put 2 more quarts in, and since I already figured that we were probably 2 quarts low, we only got 5 quarts out of it. I don't know why I'm worried. I have a sucker. I can just suck it out. I'm gonna put 2 quarts in here. I'm gonna shut up now. All right, that's been done. No going back. I mean, we can suck it out. We can go back, but I'm just going to claim no going back. And we're hopefully gonna skip a step or two, and it's not going to, immediately blow up or do something horrible because of that. But yeah, we're gonna let that sit for a minute. Can't really tell. I haven't run the engine yet, so I'm sure it's all full up, and then it'll start and it'll do some crazy stuff, and it'll suck all of it up, or it'll burp it out. We'll see. Hopefully I didn't get much on the exhaust manifold. I got a little bit on there, so I'm sure that'll let out a horrible smoke, and it'll scare the hell out of me because I forgot about it. And we'll figure this out at a later date. Hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow. It looks like it's gonna rain tomorrow. We'll see. Oh yeah, and neither the transmission or the cooling system has leaked over the last week, so that's fantastic. Not the torque converter, not the pan, not the cooler lines, not the short hose, not the thermostat, not the radiator, nothing. Hadn't gone down at all. So that's fantastic. So after we run her, I'll probably drain a little bit out of the radiator, probably try and drain about a gallon out once it starts to cool down, and then fill her back up with antifreeze. And hopefully that should be the end of it, although I'm sure I'll have to do a flush again in probably a couple of months. Alright, in the interim, because I know y'all like waiting, I'm going to break into this radiator. I'm going to try and peel back all of these tabs, which I know is not going to go very well, and then I'm just going to cut it in half with a reciprocating saw. But I'm first going to try and peel back these tabs to just see what in God's name is in here, because if I can do that without cutting it in half, I'd prefer to do that. There's no way I'm reusing this. This is going to the dump, but well, I was luckily able to just get a screwdriver underneath each one of these tabs, and you just stick it underneath one corner, slap it up until it makes a popping noise, stick it under the middle, slap it up, and then it breaks the aluminum and then bends it over. And this is the top. Doesn't actually look all that horrible to me. You know, other than the corrosion and it being packed full, I think there was plenty of flow through the radiator, which would make sense, considering how much flow there was through the radiator. It's just there was no cooling action and, you know, holes in the fins. So, I guess I'm gonna flip her over. That's all the crap I dumped out, by the way. Not a lot. I got most of it out, apparently. Just that one big old chunk. And we'll work on the bottom now, because I want to take a look at that transmission cooler and see how extensive it is. All right. You and me. First time looking. Let's see. That's, once again, not all that horrible. Oh, wow, that's like a self-contained unit. Oh, it's just like a tube. Oh, interesting. So it's just one big tube. It's a tube within a tube, and it just flows through the tube. Okay, that's pretty simple. That's much smarter than fins. I definitely don't want, you know, your transmission secretly leaking into your radiator. Good on you, Mercedes. You made one smart move on the car, other than the engine. Not all that much in there. Wonder if I can see through any of these fins. Tell me if you see anything. Would you look at that? I literally can only see through the last fin. Holy fuck. Yeah, so it was, in fact, indubitably plugged. Totally plugged. Oh, I got that all over my pants. Yeah, I looked through both sides of each fin, you know, top and bottom, and the last one was the only one I could see through. So it tells me that there is so much corrosion on there that it's just sort of like this the whole way down. So it's a miracle that this thing even partially cooled. So that was the water pump, the non-functioning thermostat, the non-functioning new thermostat, and all the mung. Yeah, it was just a whole cooling system meltdown, except for the hoses. I hope, except for the hoses. Hot hell. Alright, so we took the reciprocating saw and we just sliced her right in half, and that's what it looks like before I do anything to it. And really doesn't look as bad as expected, but you look through it and you still can't see anything out of it, even cut in half. So even with half the length, you still can't see anything through it. And you can see a fair bit of corrosion in some of the fins, but not all of them, or all the veins. You look over here at this one, which I have widened with the pocket knife, and yeah, there's some corrosion. There's a fair bit. Like, look at that guy. You know, over here, there. That one's real bad. So, yeah, it's in there. Alright, so we're poking around in the cab, and I learned that we have a ashtray, because I've been reading the owner's manual. And something I also just learned is this is real wood. This ain't just fake wood grain. This is full-on oak or something. Hardwood. Some kind of German something or another. Beech, probably. So, yeah, that's cool. I don't know how I hadn't noticed that, but this is all. This ain't wood grain. This is wood. This is straight up wood, which is awesome. That totally fits my preferred aesthetic anyway, because I like sort of raw, unfinished, or stained wood. So that's kind of slick. That and leather, so we're doing pretty good. Anyway, found some change in there. I've been looking at it, and the oldest or youngest coinage I can find is 2000. One of these is a 2000. There we are. So I was hoping to find like a 2004 or something, because that would prove the last time this car was actually used would have been, you know, the last time somebody went to a McDonald's and got something. And I probably should have checked it on the other coins that I already put in my piggy bank and then probably spent on liquor. But from the stuff that's still in the car, 2000 is the youngest. So between 2000 and 2004, more likely 2003, because they probably renewed the plates while the car was still parked. But sometime in that 3-year period was when this car was actually parked and no longer driven. Well, there were some medical receipts in the glove box I need to look at. I need to see what year they were from. I think they might have been from 2003. I'll double check that in a minute. But anyway, more importantly, the car is off of blocks, not off of ramps yet. That was mostly because I need my felling wedges back, and I couldn't get one of them out without getting the car off of blocks, also because I have the jack here. So, car's off of blocks now. I can't get it off the ramps without firing up. I was hoping I'd be able to put it in neutral and push it off, but she don't want to move. And it's raining today, so I'm not going to go out and test drive this thing, because one, I might get stuck in the road because the road's muddy. Well, muddy. We don't have any clay. It's just sand, but we might get stuck, and I don't want to tear up the road because then my cousins will yell at me and I'll have to pay to get the road fixed. So we're going to put off on driving it this week. I'm going to go back inside and continue reading the owner's manual, see if I can learn anything new, but we might pop in here and work on the fuse box and some other miscellaneous things. May fire up just long enough for the transmission to suck up some fluid, I can't speak today, and get her off of the ramps just so I can take the ramps inside. We shall see. You gotta bear with me here for a minute. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. We're probably gonna fire her up today. We'll see. Alright, so medical receipts in here from a Mexican guy who I've never met, unless one of the Mexican guys that I have met is running from the cartel and changed his name, and for whatever reason used his real name on his dental receipts. But these are from September of 2003. So car was last registered in May of 2003. So that went until May of 2004. So between September of 2003 and May of 2004, this car was parked somewhere in there. It was still on the, I don't know why he would have put his receipts in here unless the car was being driven. So we got it confirmed. We're just going to say end of year 2003. Well, she's off the ramp. She fired up, no problem. I think we're going to take her for a spin down the road, see if we can get her up to operating temperature and not die in a car fire. All right. Haven't put her in drive yet, just reversed to get her off the ramps. Hopefully we can get out to the pavement. There's third, and I heard something make a noise other than the normal stuff. Wonder if that was a vacuum. Woo, Lord, it's wet out. See if we got any power. We got plenty of power now. Still don't think we have fourth though, but we're going 40. Shouldn't be going 40. How do the brakes work? They work well? Pretty well. It doesn't seem like I have much of a vacuum, but they do have stopping power. Oh, transmission's screaming again. Probably still low, but we gotta get her warmed up before we can even tell. There she is. There's asphalt. Let's make sure there's no cops. I ain't see no cops. Aw, yeah. There goes her grave. Alright, well, I'm gonna start driving this thing with two hands just because I have a feeling something horrible might happen and I don't want to die or kill somebody. Catch you on the flip side. Well, she's starting to overheat again, but she seems to be stable at about 87. Got a little bit of shake in the steering wheel now, and it sounds a lot like we've got a stuck brake caliper or a bad bearing, one of the two. So we're gonna take her on back before something dangerous happens. Yeah, she's creeping up now. She don't feel too good. Oh yeah, hear that. Yeah, that's a wheel hub right there. Woo-wee! Racing on back. That didn't last long. Can never be easy, can it, guys? Yep, she's still running hot, but she's full of just straight water, so I guess we're gonna check the transmission now. And this is such a chore. I need 2 hands for it. This guy's firmly bolted down now, but still vibrates. That's annoying. I'm assuming that's just because the entire engine is shaking. Don't know if you can make that out, but we're still low. So I think I'm gonna add another half quart and see if something happens. Well, best as I can tell, we're good now. Put a half quart in it, and you know, I'm just being lazy. I need to, you know, wait like 10-15 minutes, but I really don't want to run this thing at, you know, 100 degrees Celsius for too much longer. Wind's picking up, rain's coming in, so it seems to be that we're everywhere we need to be. So I think we're gonna call it here, but we still got to figure out what the hell is wrong with the cooling system now. Oh Lord. However, on the upside, oh damn, that is messed up. Why is that so violent? Well, that works now, but it's not adjusted, and I ain't got no way to adjust it other than like jamming something, shimming it or something. Well, I drove around a little bit more. Transmission seems a little bit happier with that extra half quart, but nothing, you know, really appreciable. She really didn't get above, I don't think 95 this go round, but I didn't drive it all that much. I just sort of drove it up to the hayfield, tried to do a donut. Couldn't because coupe with good suspension, well, good suspension. Then turned on back and parked her. I don't know what to say. I have no, other than potentially the gauge itself being bad and just telling me the wrong temperature. The IR thermometer is not here, so I got to bring it back and check everything. I double checked the fan. The water pump is getting, you know, full beltage. It is spinning. The alternator's spinning. If the alternator's spinning, then the water pump's going to be spinning. Everything's charging, so it's not that the water pump's not moving. There is warmth on the lower radiator hose. It's not crazy hot, but there is warmth. The upper radiator hose is very hot. It's got to be moving fluid, but it's just not, for whatever reason, the engine is overheating, and it's probably 55, 60 out today, and there's no reason why it should be overheating like this. My only other thoughts are that it's basically under load all the time because we have dragging brake calipers. I think that might be something. This guy was definitely making a noise, but I really don't think it should be making that much of a difference. It could be that the bearings themselves are bad, but I don't see a reason why they would be. It's not like this thing was ever underwater. Could just be that the calipers are stuck and it's dragging, but I feel like that would, when I would brake, the thing would pull to one direction or another. If I let off the steering wheel, it would pull, and it doesn't, which I guess just means that both of them are probably stuck. I don't know. She's still overheating. The only other thing I've been able to suss out that might be an issue, other than the sensor itself being bad and just giving me faulty readings, and we can check that with an IR sensor, is the oil cooler thermostat. Apparently the oil cooler over there next to the radiator has its own thermostat underneath the oil filter housing, and I'm really hoping it's not that, because I don't want to have to buy one of those and get in there and replace it. But apparently there's a thermostat for the oil cooler to allow oil to circulate through the oil cooler and actually cool, and if that sticks shut, then you don't get any flow through the oil cooler, and your, you know, oil can't cool properly. Alright, this is the oil cooler, and it's really ambient. That's ambient. That's got warmth in it. There's something going into that one. Let me see if I can reach under here and feel the bottom. Well, not really any warmth on the bottom of the cooler though. Not dripping any oil either. So I'm wondering if anything's going through this. There is some warmth to it. I'm not going to say there's not, but it is also touching this, and this guy is nice and hot, piping hot. Some warmth in this hose, but it's also touching the block. What about one of these down here? That's got some warmth. It's got some warmth. What about this? Yeah, see, that guy's hot. It may be oil cooler. Could be that the oil cooler isn't cooling the oil, and so the radiator is having to pick up the slack, and that's why we're overheating. Hope it's not, but that could be it. Ah, that's hot. That's not as hot as I think it would be. You know, viscous clutch is still viscous. Very hot. That water pump is just rusting like a son of a bitch. Good lord. I am not going to touch that. Yeah, the AC line has as much heat as the oil cooler. That may be the issue. Oh lord. But I think what I'm going to do is replace the coolant temp sensor, which is this guy here, I believe, and see if that makes a difference. I'm sure it's fine though, but with how nasty the cooling system looks, it's probably a good idea to replace it, because I could be running hotter than I actually am. But before we do any of that, we'll get the IR thermostat on it, IR thermometer on it, and confirm or deny one way or the other. At least, you know, confirm that we do in fact have flow through the radiator. Make sure that, you know, the head is, you know, not crazy overheating, etc., etc. Oh lord, I just want this dang thing to cool. Why you gotta fight me like this, car? Well, it's not the oil cooler. Oil cooler ain't supposed to kick in until 110 degrees Celsius, so it really should only be keeping the thing from, you know, redlining. It's not actually doing anything while the car is at normal operating temperature. These engines do run hot, but they don't run this hot. So I'm thinking we got plugged lines and mung just everywhere, and it's just gonna take all the flush and citric acid in the world to get this thing out. Or it's possessed and it's just got demons in it, and I need to start hitting up all my priest friends. I could see if I can get some holy water from my minister. Might be able to get the local Catholic priest to come do an exorcism. I don't know. I'm kind of running out of options here, and I'd rather not have to sell this thing for scrap. Alright, so I think I finally figured out the routing for the heater core. I think it comes from there, goes through this auxiliary pump, comes up here, goes through this solenoid, goes down that way, back under there, up into here, and then comes out through this double set of pipes for some reason. I don't know why it's a double set of pipes, unless there's supposed to be like a pass-through in there, but I don't think there is. But anyway, it comes out that double set of pipes, and then it comes back out here, I believe, I think, I hope. So I've disconnected what I believe to be the two sides, and I'm going to try and pressurize that side over there and blow a bunch of mung out there. And while I was doing that, I discovered this. And I've seen this, and I just assumed it was some sort of weird German thing. But now that I'm looking at it, I think this is like a line from like, it's just like a bog standard like piece of like interior electrical line, and it's got this fuse connected to it. And it was stuck down here, back behind that way. And the only things I can see over here are the starter. And I know this thing had starting issues. And it was just sort of laying back down there, disconnected. It's been disconnected for a hot minute, I think. And if I follow it back over here, it just runs in this way. And it's just jammed through this firewall down here. And then the other side is connected over here to a fuse on the ground side. And this is just bolted to the firewall down here. And I don't know if that's standard or not. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't match any of the other wiring. And to me, this is like a piece of Romex, actually. And it's just jammed in the firewall. And we're going to discover where that goes, potentially. Yeah, just... that appears to be it right there. Just running down the firewall. And I don't know if it passes under here or not. I don't know. But I guess that's for the radio, maybe? I don't know what the hell else it's for. There's nothing else piped in unless there was a CB radio or something, but that's weird. starter? Maybe it was a hot wire? I don't know, but we're just gonna take this guy and just stuff it back behind here and forget about it again. There's some tomfoolery going on in here, and I don't mean me. So I'm gonna hook the hose up to this and try and blow crud out of here and hopefully not get it all over the place too much, because I don't have a coupler that I can hook onto this. I just can sort of bend it down so it directs underneath the car, I hope. Alright, we're gonna do a forward flush because that was the easiest way to hook it up. Let's see if this does anything. Oh, good lord, that was... Oh! That is horrifying. Hey, there's still coolant in there. Let me get all of my tools out of the way. Sorry about the camera angle. Oh, Lord, look at them chunks. That's grody. Well, the heater core is flushed now, so there is an upside. I guess let's reverse flush it now. Alright, well that's been done. Used the old mouth suckulator and did a reverse flush as best as I could. Blew a whole bunch more crap out of there. So I think the heater core is nice and clear now. Which means I think I should be safe to leave it on heat. Although I'm sure that solenoid doesn't work, and I'm sure the auxiliary pump doesn't work. But, you know, be good to just have it, you know, on. Just in case they decide to work. So we can use the heater now, I think, at the very least, to be able to get a little bit more circulation out of this thing, although I've been using it the whole time, and as you saw, there was coolant, raw coolant in there, so it's basically non-functional. But, you know, can't hurt. Could just be a fuse, could just be the solenoid, I don't know. We'll have to Easter egg it like everything else in this cooling system. I just don't know what it is. Like, I know it's not head gasket, because if it was head gasket, one, I'd have shit in the oil, and I don't have shit in the oil. Two, I would have shit in the coolant, and I don't have shit in the coolant. Coolant's been crystal clear the whole time. All the scum would float up, and you would see a layer of brown goo on top of this. You know, you'd see something on top of the dipstick, you'd see something on the oil filler cap, and I don't got any of that. So it's not head gasket. I'm confident it's not. It's not air in the system. I just took this line off and it was full up, well, as full as it can get of water. And I mean, this is the outflow for the water pump, so having air up here isn't going to make a difference because the water goes up and out and into the radiator. Plus it's a self-bleeding system, plus I've been running the thing, so any air should get burped out through this guy right here. Actually, yeah, so this guy should let all the air out. So I'm at a loss. My only thought is that there's just so much crap in the block that it's just overheating, and you know, the engine cannot dissipate heat fast enough. That's, Lord, I'm gonna keep researching, but I am running out of options really fast. It's not the water pump, it's not the thermostat, it's not the radiator, it's not the hoses. The system holds pressure. It's not the head gasket. You know, the heater core is out of the loop because your car shouldn't be overheating regardless. Even if your heater core is non-functional, your radiator should have enough capacity. It's not the fan. It's not the belts on the water pump, as far as I can tell. You know, there's plenty of passageways in here. It shouldn't be the oil cooler because it shouldn't come into play until the engine's already really hot. I don't know, unless it's the sensor itself. I cannot think of anything else that could be wrong with this cooling system. And if I'm missing something, please, Jesus, somebody tell me. But, I can't. I don't know what the hell it could be. Alright, so it's the next day. I've got a soil thermometer jammed in the overflow tank, and it's telling me it's about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to take this infrared thermometer and point it at the bottom of the coolant tank, and it should hopefully say something similar. It's telling me about 66. What about there? 65. Alright, well, the soil thermometer, which once again is a soil thermometer, is telling me about 68. And if I take the infrared thermometer and point it right down here where it's at, It's telling me just a hair under 66, so I'd say they're close enough. Certainly more accurate than whatever that is, hopefully. And I've got the glow plugs a-glowing. And we're going to give that one more cycle, give her a snort of ether, fire up, drive it around, and come back here whenever she's nice and warmed up, and check the temperatures all around the engine, and confirm or deny whether or not this thing is actually overheating. Well, maybe the alternator isn't actually charging the battery, because she's low. I got one crank out of her and then she went kaput. Don't know if it's bad ground or what, but it's thing. I got maybe a half second a good spin out of the starter, and then she bogged down. So I've got the charger hooked up on boil battery mode, and twilight's waning, or daylight is waning. I took some baseline measurements. We're gonna get this goddamn thing fired up tonight so that I can get her running down the road. All I need is enough charge to be able to spin the starter, and I mean, push comes to shove, I can jump start her with the Jeep. I'm just too lazy to pull out my jumper cables. Plus I got the 2 other batteries in the garage, but we're gonna leave her on here for about 5 minutes, give it an attempt, and hopefully something interesting happens, or I'm going to grab my jumper cables and hook another battery up to it in parallel. We shall see. Can never be easy. Alright, crisis averted. Also, I'm noticing that y'all can't like see what's going on with this because it's vibrating at like the same frequency as the camera recording. So it just kind of looks like this is like melting, and it's just sort of like, so yeah, have fun with that. I'm sure that's gonna, you know, make you regret smoking all that dope. Anywho, yeah, just know that that's going like this and not like this. It's not made of jello. But anyway, we're gonna drop the hood down on her and cruise around the block real quick until she looks like she's starting to boil. And then we'll bring her on back, park her, check temperatures, and hope to Christ that everything is actually nominal and that the gauge is wrong. We shall see. Alright, well, she's drifting right on up to 100 degrees Celsius as we pull her back up at the house. Alright, she seems to be sitting there for a moment. We're gonna pop the hood and inspectolate. She's squeaking again, transmission's squeaking again, everything's squeaking. Let me sit you down for a second while I pop this. Alright, our baseline air temperature is 19 degrees Celsius. So, let me see what we got. 25 degrees C. Operating temp is 80. Let's check right on the thermostat, or on the sender. Sender is telling me 85. Check the front of the block. 62, back of the block, 45, let's see, oil cooler, 31, bottom of the oil cooler, 32, let's say, water pump's 45, thermostat's 43, let's see, outflow for the radiator, 54, top of the radiator, close to operating temp, about 76. Let's check the bottom of the radiator. Bottom of the radiator is telling me 28. Check right in front of the thermostat, tell me 34. Let's check bang on center of the radiator, although I may not be able to get that with a fan. Tell me 40, that may be good. Let's check it through here. $45. Check top of the oil filter. 52. Let's check the heater core. wherever it is. 40. Check the inlet for the heater core. 29, so definitely nothing going through the heater core. What about the pump? 32. Let's see. Bottom of this guy, 28. Let's take this guy as our nominal reading right here. Check the metal right at the top of the radiator. I don't know which of these readings to trust. Let's check the metal temperature sensor. This thing has two temp sensors. Tell me 60. Coolant temp sensor is telling me about 50. And the thermostat is telling me 95. That's quite the discrepancy. So again, let's check the turbo just to be silly. I feel like that should be hotter. Oh, I guess that is the intake side of the turbo. Let's check the ass end of the turbo. That's only giving me 80. I feel like turbo should be a lot harder. Let's check over here at the EGR. Huh. Once again, I feel like that should be hotter. Let's check what's left of the exhaust pipe. I feel like that should be hotter as well. Let's check me. Leg should be like 90 or 80. Well, Fahrenheit. That's about right for how cold it is. That's the exhaust manifold right there. Radiator right behind. That ain't right. That is significantly hotter. I don't think it likes measuring this aluminum. I can believe 130. Yeah, that's like hot bath water. That's 130. That's probably 150, 160. Man, I'm good at this. Let's check the back. That's very cool. That's maybe only 110. I'm a little off. Well, I guess let's check each cylinder, I guess. I don't know if this is... Oh, that wasn't even a cylinder up front. Ooh, that back one is really hot. Toasty. Well, the front one's the same temperature. Well, anyway, I'm not going to subject you to any more of this, but I'm confident now that this engine isn't overheating. And it's just probably a bad ground on the temperature sensor. And I mean, if it's grounded back here, you know, I wouldn't blame it. But you see what it's saying. It's saying 95 degrees Celsius. And we have proven it's not that. It is very clearly 50 degrees Celsius. Actually, no, right there, 75, 74. Let's see if it is indeed that hot. That's 170. I want to check this water pump again. I really don't believe that on the water pump. On the radiator? That's actually that temperature. Whoa. This guy's not. This guy's hot. That tells me 24, but then I put my hand on it, it burns me. Yeah, yeah, that's like 160 there. Well, probably 150 considering it's aluminum. So that should be, what? That feels right. I feel the water in there. All right. So the engine isn't overheating. It's just the temp gauge being a pain in the ass. I wonder how many of these components I actually needed to replace. Probably all of them, but I'm still kind of miffed about that. So I guess we'll pop the instrument panel and see what kind of carnage is behind it and clean some grounds, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna go home and think on it. Well, I think that's gonna be the end of this old mossy episode. We've been Easter egging all of this cooling system stuff just to find out that it's the temp gauge. I think. All signs indicate temp gauge. I went by and checked all the cylinders again. Not one of them was over 60 degrees Celsius at the head gasket. Or at least the timing cover gasket. Signs are good. My butt's warm because I'm sitting on the radiator. And if you like this kind of stuff, go down there, give me a like. If you think you've got some other idea what this cooling system is, other than a faulty temp sensor, go down there, give me a comment, tell me what you think. This thing has 2 temperature sensors, by the way. It's got one for the metal on the block and one for the coolant itself. So I'm just going to replace the coolant one and get in there and fiddle with the grounds. Hopefully I'll fiddle with the grounds first, but I'm probably just going to waste my money and buy a new sensor anyway, just because I don't trust that it's still fully operational with how nasty that cooling system looks. And if you want to see more of this garbage in particular or other garbage as of yet to be announced, you gotta subscribe, so go down there, smash that subscribe button, and until next time, I'm out.